Night of the Living podcast is always ad-free for patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
Screampunk.
Is that what we're doing?
You know, is the only thing I put. You know, I had people in Discord.
Yeah,
we got a few.
They're right.
Everybody's like Screampunk. It's got to be Screampunk, but because it's the best pun anyone could come up with.
For
keeping it
steampunk?
simple. But what is steampunk? Right? It's cogs. It's gears. It's goggles.
What does the dictionary define it as?
Steam.
So it's a genre that features all of these elements
Gears.
of the industrial age. Jules Verne kind of got that whole ball going with his stories about Around the World in 80 Days and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and 18 Inches on 18 Inches.
A steampunk a steampunk porno.
Yep. So
There are
this,
many cogs.
this is Night of the Living podcast. We talk
Hi.
about horror,
So much-
sci-fi,
That's dangerous.
and
Steam.
fantasy.
Get burned.
Steam around your
You're
bits.
going to get burned. That's Andy over there.
Hi.
Amy.
Yep.
I'm Freddy, and we're going to be talking about, from 1988, Terry Gilliam's movie, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, to kick things off. And then next week, we're going to be covering Delicatessen that Andy picked, another really fun movie, and wrapping things up with Amy's pick, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Which may or may not really be steampunk, but every time you Google steampunk horror, it pops up. So
Let's trust Google.
Yeah.
I'm trusting it.
I guess that's the authority.
It's a movie I've been mildly curious about.
yeah.
So we're going to watch that
Can't
too.
wait to see how dated it is.
Yeah, seriously.
And then Diane Maxfield won our raffle. So, hey, Diane.
Yeah, we've known her forever.
We
Yep,
have known her forever.
it's true.
Pre-podcast.
So she gets to pick our last Screampunk movie.
Yeah.
And is most likely that she'll actually get back to us too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I was glad it was someone I knew because I'm like, oh, I can follow up. So, any of us have history with steampunk in any way?
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I
It's
mean,
like pornography, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
when you see it.
I know it when I see it. Yeah. I like Jules Verne stuff, but I was never like a steampunk fan per se, you know?
I've read a couple of like steampunk novels.
Yeah.
It's not my thing,
Yeah.
but God bless you if that's what you're into. There's a whole aesthetic. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. It's so specific.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
something you can admire, but I look at them and I'm like, wow, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Do you mean people who are really into
Yes.
steampunk? Like the amount of like cosplay involved and
Andy
everything?
I can't imagine.
Puts a certain amount of effort in.
I mean, there's only so many top hats I can have in my life.
You know what, though? I feel like steampunk's the only thing you haven't experimented with making costumes.
There's probably a reason why. There's a lot
Yeah.
of work involved.
Yeah, all the gears. It's too mathematical.
Yeah.
The patina you have to put on
Yes.
everything.
Yeah, everything has to have that.
And I don't have a head or mustache either. So
We could grow you one real fast, I bet. And
No.
you're a quick grower
I'm also a shower.
and a shower when it comes to mustaches. So yeah, Patreon. That's how we keep the ball rolling uphill here.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your support. Patreon.com. You go ahead, Amy.
No. Okay, fine. Patreon.com/NOTLP.
Yep. We have Origins. You just
Just posted Origins where back in 2012 we were talking about Creepshow 2.
thanks for the ride, lady.
So that was exciting.
I get those two mixed up, honestly.
The first one and the second
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, both the creep shows.
Yeah.
Creeps show.
It's understandable. Did you see them when you were a kid?
Yeah, all the
And
time.
you still get them mixed up?
Uh,
Because one had a cartoon. See, one had a cartoon.
that's the second one, right?
One had a puppet.
Yeah.
The first one had the puppet.
Okay, first one. That's
Yeah.
Adrian Barbeau,
Yep.
Ted Danson, and Stephen King.
Yep.
Is that all of them? Or is there a fourth one?
And
The Roach.
Yeah, the Roaches.
Okay. So I do know them.
Look at
Yeah,
you.
you know. They're
So
massive.
proud.
Horror anthology masterpieces. I'm a fan of 2. I know a lot of people don't
I
like
love
2
2.
as much. What did we say? Do you remember what?
Oh, and Father's Day, right? That's on
Father's Day in the
that's-
first
yeah.
one. Yeah.
I think I don't remember. I'm sure you you said you liked it.
Yeah, I feel like there were some people that maybe Kelley might be someone who wasn't a big fan. Was he on this episode?
I think that's true.
Okay.
I think it's just
been a long time.
A lot of people, they think it pales in comparison to the first one.
That's fair. The first one's just so damn perfect.
But I think the second one is just as fun.
It's good.
For me, at least.
It's good. But it's not as
it's a Raft 1 or 2.
Visually tight.
2.
It's not as tight for me.
I love the Raft.
The Raft is good.
Yeah.
Well, I think the highs of 2 are just as good as the highs in 1.
Yeah, it's its own thing. It has a different kind of vibe to it. It felt like the first one almost felt like everything was in a period.
Mm-hmm.
It somehow felt like it was the 70s the whole time, and then in the second one, it just felt very modern.
Felt very 80s.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, like modern for when it came out.
Come on, it's got the creep throwing papers at the back of his truck at the end.
Yeah, that's really fun.
That's awesome.
It's good shit.
We
Three's not so
also at Patreon post Topicana, where we just posted one. This time we were talking about all sorts of topics, but mostly spoiling some stuff like Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yeah.
And the rehearsal season 2. So if you want to know our thoughts and feelings in a spoiler way, you can do that at patreon.com/NOTLP.
Meetups. We've been having a grand old time.
Yep.
I look forward to that every week. Thursday nights, Discord meetups. Sometimes it's just like a support group. And some nights it's games. And some nights it's collaborating on somebody's creative project.
Yeah. We have fun.
And some nights it's just ribbing each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like camp every Thursday night.
So if you want to hang out with us, and I think you might, you can do that at Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my voice is like really low today, and I don't know what that's all about. Am I doing a thing?
There's some water right here.
Okay.
Go on, Andy.
That solves everything, right?
So,
Is that better?
yeah.
Just kidding.
Much. Yep.
You ready to move on?
I am if you are.
Yeah. What do you
right.
think?
All right, let's do it, man. Turn out lights, it's the main attraction. So we got like an all-star cast in this movie, and we'll kind of get to them, I guess, as we go through. But I was a big fan of like Time Bandits and stuff like that, which is also, I think, considered kind of steampunky. But when I looked up examples of steampunk movies, because we all went to Google, I think like this came up too, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this movie really fondly from being on cable, and it's really still a really beautiful and fun movie. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, directed by Terry Gilliam, and all across the creative group, there's a lot of Monty Python alumni involved in this. It's like the first movie their company that they made after Holy Grail. This was the first movie that company produced, and it has this great cast. The John Neville, the guy who plays Baron Munchausen, was like a stage guy, and then became brought over for this, and kind of became more of a film guy. But just good shit. You guys, you had seen it before, Andy?
No, my first time.
I had never seen it.
Yeah, so it's like this wild kind of.
I think I always was concerned it would be too whimsical for me,
Yeah,
but it turns out it was the right amount of whimsical.
really. I thought you would say it was too whimsical.
No.
Yeah.
In fact, I was quite enthralled.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I feel like it was it reminds me somewhat of some of the music videos of the 90s. I feel like kind of cribbed some things from this, but it's got all these beautiful like layers of like staging where they're using kind of the multi-plane idea, but on a stage. I know there's probably a term for that in stage direction, but like it's all Terry Gilliam style art, like the animation you remember from the Monty Python years and everything. It looks like his stuff. It's really cool. What did you think of it, Andy?
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it.
You didn't like it?
Not so much.
Well,
See, I
it's
thought
also-
it gave me Wes Anderson vibes.
No,
in a way.
it's
And you love Wes
aggressively
Anderson.
Monty Python, and I'm not a big fan of Monty Python.
Oh, see, I'm not either, and this somehow worked for me, but I'm sorry.
It
was nice to look at.
Yeah.
The movie, but for me, it was exhausting.
Do you like any of Terry Gilliam's other movies at all? Or
Can you give me an example?
Well, he did Monty Python, The Holy Grail. I know you don't like that, but he also did The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff, one of the Jeffs. I can't remember his last
Bridges?
name. I think maybe Bridges. You ever seen that one?
vaguely.
It's pretty good. His stuff is all a little. It's not for everybody, really. Like, you know, Time Bandits, though, right? With where the time traveling little people and the kid travels.
I don't remember that either.
That was before this. That was kind of like a bigger hit than this was.
Yeah.
This movie was kind of not hidden, but it was. They didn't really try to promote it. I think because of some inner office politics shit. I don't know.
Thought you were gonna say like a hidden gem. I'm like, ooh, let's keep that gem buried.
It's funny because you know what I mean. I think again, it's not for everyone, but I do think like critics for the most part really love this movie, and a lot of times Wes Anderson stuff is compared to Terry Gilliam stuff.
Well, for me, it was all visual. The story wasn't compelling at all.
There's not a lot to the story.
Yeah, it was just more of a series of skits or montages more than anything. I needed some connective tissue to bring the story together.
So it kind of felt like a children's book to me.
It reminded me a lot of like Princess Bride or Never Ending Story.
Yeah.
But to me, that it had more interesting characters and more of a better wraparound story.
Yeah.
And more like compelling characters for me to care about because I didn't even know what the story was really about, really.
Right. Well, basically the wraparound is there's this play going on in 18th century Europe. And I looked at Amy and I'd seen this movie before, but I was like, Amy, what war is this? But it is kind of like a generic stand-in for the Turks versus the Europeans. And there's this town that is under siege, but they have the playhouse putting on the Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
And that was kind of one of my problems with it. Like, how are we to know the Turks are the bad guys? Because generally, you
root for the Turks.
I don't know, but generally, like, is the British and Europeans are very colonizers. So, I didn't know who to root for because the war was just so vague of why they were fighting. Right. It doesn't matter why they were fighting. I think
it's supposed to be a children's understanding of war too, for the most part. Like, I don't think it's as complex as you're supposed to like have any modern equivalents of like nations or states. Or anything.
But like when I just see a bunch of white people like warring with colored folk,
right.
In my mind, in heart, I kind of like side with the other side.
So in this, you felt like the Turks were people of color in the movie? Because I think that it was such a thin layer of an excuse to tell the fantasy part of it that to me, I don't even think it really mattered.
Yeah, it's kind of like
war was. It's like Top Gun Maverick.
Like Arabian Nights or something. You know, it's like a fantasy.
Yeah,
and doesn't really matter.
Right.
Still,
like, I mean, it matters in as much as that you have your main characters under threat while the story is being told, and that does raise the stakes storytelling wise. I don't think there's any kind of political or real world wartime messaging in this.
I know, but when I don't like a movie, you kind of pull the strings, you know.
Sure.
And find like little things that bother you.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it could have been any war. The story is really about a larger than life character who rolls in the middle of this play and says, "This is all wrong.
I am Baron
Munchausen. These, but then he starts he's an old man, but he starts seeing things he recognizes in the play. And he says, well, that's right. And you look just like my old friend. And of course, in Wizard of Oz style, the same actors are cast as the fantasy world versions. And then the real world actors playing those characters. I'm a big fan of how they changed the makeup up for all of them, whether they're on stage or if they're in the fantasy world of the Baron Munchausen stuff. But there is this constant theme of him being pursued by death. And I think that's really cool when they first reveal that backstage, that big puppet with the giant wings. And that's kind of one of the first transitions into the fantasy side of it, when Sarah Polley's character ends up stowing away as he escapes in his panty balloon.
Knickers.
So Eric Idle's character was real excited about that. He's like an underwear pervert, apparently.
Berthold,
yeah. Yeah, the story is that he's trying to reunite this team to come help the town that's under siege.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that those type of stories, like getting the old gang back together.
Yeah, like
That's-
Three Amigos.
Yeah, that type of stuff. But I just felt it just needed a lot of editing.
It's a longish movie. It's like an hour and
No,
47 or something.
Yeah, it's like a little over 2 hours, but it just
or
felt,
is it? No, you're right. It is just over
it
2.
just felt long
yeah.
because it didn't feel like there was much of a story, and there was a lot of people just riffing on each other.
Well, the only dialogue I know that was like improvised was Robin Williams. That was originally supposed to be Sean Connery, and they recast it with Robin Williams, and Robin Williams just did what he does.
And don't get me wrong, I think Robin Williams is brilliant and hilarious, but sometimes I think he needs to be reined in.
That's true, I think, of any of those improvers.
He's playing an interesting character in this movie. He's the king of the moon, and moon people can detach their heads from their bodies.
And they're giant.
And they're giant. But it seemed like they wanted to detach their heads from their bodies so they weren't bothered by their bodily needs and functions, right?
Yeah, they thought the higher being was the head.
But the one lady detached her head, but was still able to feel that her body was having sex.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
That didn't make any sense.
Well, that's a good question, man.
I got
But
him.
you're looking for a sense for a movie that has
know.
a panty balloon.
It has a panty balloon, and it has where every time that Bertold has
he's
to run somewhere,
he's like the road runner.
he leaves destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, he leaves a path of destruction. So it's not very reliable for regular service. I like that they keep him under control by having those giant ball and chains attacked to him.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
he doesn't always run too fast everywhere he
it was
goes.
a neat touch, I thought.
Yeah. I liked that.
Yeah, but it kind of what this is like Andy was saying, it's vignettes. The story isn't anything more complicated than they leave the theater and their goal is to get everybody and go back. But in the meantime, there's this Jonathan Pryce character who's kind of a villain that functions outside of the wartime stuff as just somebody who thinks that Baron Munchausen is dangerous, I guess. And ultimately
it takes place in the
assassinates him.
Age of Reason where, and Jonathan Pryce is like, you need to keep your head grounded and get your head out of the clouds and like get rid, like stop doing that fantasy stuff.
That's a good point.
Which I
yeah.
like that idea. Like even in bad times, you need to have some whimsy and joy, and they're trying to tamp that down because they're at war. So they're like trying to say like, stop doing that
It
stuff.
doesn't serve anything. Yeah,
exactly.
So like you saying it's the Age of Reason is a really good point because I think like we kind of been going through kind of a weird Age of Reason versus weird like the ivermectin people and all that shit. You know what I'm talking about.
The anti-reason.
I wouldn't compare them to Baron Munchausen because Baron Munchausen's kind of fun and cool,
Yeah.
but also he's
But
probably
they're-
an anti-vaxxer,
But
right?
they're also, but he's not dangerous like those
Yeah.
ivermectin people.
He's dangerous enough to ride a cannonball or a mortar. I'm sorry, from one cannon and then catch a cannonball coming back the other direction to come back. That's a pretty magical meatball right there, in my opinion.
And at first you could be like, well, he's just telling us this. No, a little Sarah Polly saw it happen.
Yeah. And then she I like that. It's a nice touch that as she's retelling the story, they don't believe her. And he doesn't back her up because she has tiny details wrong. He
Yeah.
pulls a Jack Reacher on her.
Yeah, details matter.
Yeah, I
in
like how he's kind
investigation.
of he's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He's very like Don Quixote in a way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He kind of looks like him
Yeah.
too.
So I like how maybe that's part of the reason I didn't outright hate it because it reminded me of so many other things.
That you do like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like the Don Quixote movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there was one they made more recently, wasn't there? With like, was Johnny Depp in one of them? No, that's Don Juan DeMarco.
Oh.
Never
Oh,
mind.
God.
You got your Dons mixed up.
Yeah. Did what is it? Don Quixote. Who's in Don Quixote, the movie? Do you remember? I can't remember. Oh well.
All I remember seeing is the musical version.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to Google it.
It's okay. I'm not either. I'm resisting.
Yeah,
Parts
'cause-
of me want
Yeah.
to.
Because you're going to
Resisting.
build up a lot of results, and we're not going to go through each one.
So part of the journey, not to mention, we go to the moon. And the reason he goes to the moon is because that's Bertolt's last known whereabouts. We found out later because Munchausen just abandoned him there. That's why he was the last known whereabouts. And he's been in a cage, and he's just been aging this whole time and alone. And then when Baron Munchausen needs him, he turns up to pick him up. It's kind of cold.
It is kind of tough.
Yeah, I thought so. The getting the team back together montage, which is the whole movie. Once you leave the moon and all that madness.
Well, another thing that really bothered me was Robin Williams eating that mango. That was just real gross.
Disgusting.
Super gross.
And they zoomed in on him.
And
so had much of it was stuck to his face.
Yeah, and he had bits falling out of his mouth. And it just kept going on and on and on.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I said, this movie needed to be trimmed down.
Definitely. By today's standards, it has a lot of extra flab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, he probably, Karen Gilliam probably saw what Robert Williams was do his own thing. And he just said, I'm going to film this. It's going to be awesome. But sometimes you need to rein that in.
Even a genius.
Yes.
So after the balloon thing was to get to the moon, but they have this whole moment where...
No, the balloon thing is to...
was to escape.
Was to escape to go get...
But they had the boat, Bertold, right?
Yeah, you're right. It was to get to the moon.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
And then they end up losing the balloon part and end up on the ocean, but then the ocean becomes like the Sea of Tranquility on the moon.
Right.
Which is fucking a cool transition, I think. Visually, it's very trippy and pairs well with being stoned.
This movie, maybe that's it, Andy.
Maybe that needed that.
Maybe that's what you needed. Because I'll tell you, it was a nice ride to be a little stoned and watch this movie. Yeah, that transition into the sand of the moon was really cool.
And
it's funny that Eric Idle encountered moon people, and in the Figment Imagination ride, he's a moon person.
Andy, I had kind of a similar thought. I was like, why do I associate
the moon at the end.
him with the moon? Yeah.
That's
creepy.
A Disney reference. There's a ride called Journey to Imagination with Figment.
It's awesome.
And near the end, Eric Idle is a literal moon face, and he's singing at us at the end of the ride.
Yeah. You like that, though.
Yeah, I love it.
You don't hate it because Monty Python's tangentially touching it. You like Eric Idle outside of Monty Python.
Sure. I mean, I don't really know him beyond.
European Vacation was pretty good.
Yeah.
Kept getting hit by the car. They kept injuring him, the Griswolds. That was him, wasn't it, Eric Idle?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm sorry.
I didn't watch European Vacation that much.
I've seen it one time. I don't remember.
I mean, ask me about Christmas Vacation or...
yeah, I got you there.
And it got you there, but European, there's a reason why nobody really knows that stuff.
So after the moon, they go to visit Vulcan, the god of the forge, and it's Oliver Reed.
We've been running into him a lot lately.
Yeah. What was do you remember what it was? Was it
the
Burn Offerings?
Burn Offerings, and we watched the Sexy Nun movie.
Yeah. Oh, The Devils.
Yes.
He is again. Still super sexy as are we in agreement as Vulcan?
Yeah.
He was some of his acting choices were weird.
A little rackety. He was drunk, I think.
That's what I think was going on.
They said his whole time was, and we haven't gotten to this, but there's this beautiful recreation of the painting Venus on the Half Shell or whatever it's called that reveals Uma Thurman's as Venus. But apparently Oliver Reed kept getting drunk and trying to seduce her the whole time they were making their part of the movie. So that's kind of a little icky. She was like 19 or 20 years old, and he's probably in his late 40s by this point, right?
At least it wasn't Sarah Polley.
That's at least there's
Okay.
that. Yeah, I forgot to mention this little Sarah Polley. She's really good. She didn't. I don't think she liked making this movie though. Like she talks about it being one of the reasons I think she left acting. Ultimately,
I mean, I feel like it was a difficult shoot.
Yeah.
They put her through a lot. She got yeeted a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the part coming up right here after they talk to Vulcan and meet Uma Thurman and all that, they end up getting swallowed by a giant fish. And they showed that in the play too, where they had the really cool moment of that telescoping effect with the with the foreground fish. It makes sense if you watch it, people.
Foreground fish.
But the real fish is really gross on the inside. It has all these like kind of barnacle looking growths inside of it. And but they find a ship in there, and in the cabin of the ship, there's characters playing cards, and it turns out to be what's his name who blows? Gustavus, right? Or Gustavo? Gustavus. And Adolphus is the blind guy, right? Who can who's a marksman.
Yeah.
And then
he
his
wasn't always
horse, his horse Bucephalus or whatever his name is, turns out Bucephalus.
I love that scene at the where he's the horse. Baron's like riding the horse and it's like levitating out of the water.
Yeah,
like it's a really well made movie, but the sum of its parts didn't add up for me.
It's like a big music video too. It does. It's like I agree with you that it doesn't have a lot of depth. It really doesn't. It's very much like a storybook. So after the fish, when I forgot to mention that Baron is now Benjamin Buttoning. He's getting younger because of the adventure he's on.
He's because of the adventuring.
Yeah, but then he starts getting old again after the fish because I guess he's losing some hope.
Well, he doesn't want to die. He does kind of express the opinion that he should just be left to die already. He's sick of living a little bit.
Yeah. Sad.
I know.
But do you feel like the little girl, Salt, Sally Salt, that... And we forgot to mention too that she's the daughter of the main actor and the guy who runs the theater company at Salt and Sons, and that's kind of a thing about the story that she's like, why doesn't it say daughter? Because he doesn't have a son, and that kind of gives her character a little bit of an arc with kind of
she's a feminist.
Yeah, she needs to prove herself.
Yeah,
to her dad. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and in the end, he changes the poster and everything and have a happy ending for her. But she keeps the Baron alive. I think you're right. I think if he didn't meet her, he was ready to just go.
Yeah, in the beginning when he crashes the play and the Turks attack and everybody flees and he's just ready to die, and she wakes him up like, you didn't finish the story.
Yeah,
and that's why he kind of gives him hope again.
Feels very like a Peter Pan kind of moment, doesn't it? Yeah, there was also
that's another reason why it kind of reminded me of like never-ending story. Like you need to finish the story, and give the princess a name.
And Sebastian eats that apple real sloppily, kind of like the King of the Moon does in this, only not as gross.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he was inspired by that movie.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, well, the guy who made Never-Ending Story, German, Baron Munchausen, German.
There you go.
It's the only connection.
Is this a real character, or like a real?
There's a book. It's based
pre-existing character.
Yeah, it was IP, old IP. Two authors. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but it's a book, a novel by two writers.
Occurred to me to ask till right now.
They got sued over the movie too because there have been other adaptations, and somebody who made one of them said this was a remake of their adaptation and not a new work inspired by the novel. It's stupid.
How can you even prove
this
that?
movie? Well, this movie's so Unique. They didn't have a leg to stand on. I don't think anything ever came of it.
Amy, you took German. What would Munchausen translate to?
Child poisoner.
House eater. In my mind, Munch means eat, and Hausen means house.
Essen is to eat. I don't know. Something house maybe. God, this was high school German. I took a little college German too.
I was associated with.
I always wanted to pretend I didn't.
What is it called? Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah,
where
that was named after like a doctor or something that maybe came up with.
It wasn't Baron Munchausen.
Not Baron Munchausen.
There's all these moments throughout. Get back to him wanting to die. Like he says, no doctors a lot. And you think it's because he wants to die, but the thing is, death disguises himself as doctors.
Oh, that's
true. And that's why he was saying it.
Yeah.
You think this is RFK's favorite movie? Because no doctors.
No doctors. I thought about stuff like that a few times where I'm like, what's the modern day equivalent of someone who is against an age of reason? And I couldn't come up with a lot of good, analogs. So I still like Baron Munchausen, but if he existed today, I'd want to shake him probably by the shoulders, and I'd be like, "You need doctors. You're very old,
Yeah.
and this one is not a puppet underneath.
No, all you need is a little girl that believes in you.
That's true. That's all you need."
A child shall lead us.
So they end up going back to the Grand Turk, who made the bet, which we didn't really talk about early in the movie in the first act. He makes a bet with the Grand Turk that the Grand Turk can take his head, or what was the flip side of that wager? Do you remember what it was? What he got if he won the Baron? It might have been. You know what it was? It was something to do with Speedy.
With Bertold?
Bertold. That was a flashback story they were telling about the Turk one.
And the
Turk
bet.
wanted to take the bet. But they come back to it near the end of the movie, where they have the blind executioner come back, which was I just think visually really cool. His eyelids are all stitched shut, and he has like a little person who comes out and helps him kind of position himself. Man, they used to cut people's heads off. That part's real. But I like that return of it near the end, and kind of the climax of the movie is just chaotic with Jonathan Pryce coming back.
I did like how his stories ended actually being somewhat true.
Yeah. Well, Big Fish.
Big Fish.
You like Big Fish?
Yeah.
That is Tim Burton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, Big Fish always felt like a Terry Gilliam movie, but it has so much more heart that puts it like Big Fish to me is like this movie on crack, or not crack. That's a bad. This movie on incense. Good crack, something smooth.
Something good for you, crack.
Yeah. But Big Fish and this go really well together.
It's so light. The movie is very light.
Yeah.
Which was helpful because I don't want heavy or dark. So this movie is very good if you're not in the headspace to handle heavy, challenging works.
It always reminds me too of the time, I've seen this movie maybe 3 or 4 times in my life, and it reminds me of the Losing My Religion video. I always associate it with that because of the use of the way the wings are used in both of them and kind of the look of it. And then the Crash Test Dummies video.
Because of the play.
Yeah, the way they did the play and the style of the stage stuff.
With the waves like rolling back and forth and like the boats just being pulled in.
Yeah, don't you feel like maybe I feel like this movie had some influence on some people who were making things in the early 90s. This came out in 88. But again, this movie, the studio execs kind of buried the movie, I think because Terry Gilliam didn't get along with somebody in the upper echelon of the studio that was releasing it. And so a lot of they didn't get all the prints they were supposed to get across the country, and it kind of made the movie didn't get its following until cable.
No, I can probably see that Terry Gilliam has his own vision, and the studio people are like, hold on.
Yeah.
You can't just go do whatever. It needs to, at the end of the day, it's a product, and you still need to make it, accessible.
They probably had a lot of the same things to say about like you said.
And this is not very accessible, I think, to the masses.
The eating the fucking mangoes go too much.
Too much with the mangoes.
Have you seen Brazil?
No. But, that's why when I suggested doing that, then you said, "Oh, Terry Gilliam direct that too." I was like, "Oops." No, but I know from pop culture, visually about Brazil with the lady with the stretchy face.
That's Mona from
Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss? Thank you. There's a lot of fun comedy actors in his early stuff. I think his later work all becomes much darker after once you get into the 90s. Terry Gilliam's output becomes really, really dark, but still I think really good. I feel like he's kind of for me, he's like you are with Wes Anderson. If he makes a movie, I gotta see it.
Well, Wes Anderson's kind of losing his sheen for me a little bit.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Is it the new one? Did you see the new one yet?
No, I don't think the one that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Probably not going to see it.
Yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not out yet.
No.
Oh, I saw a review of it.
It's like released in the big cities, and we're not a big city, unfortunately.
Okay. I heard a lot of people don't like it, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I like the look of it from the trailer. I want to get back in there and see what he's gonna do. I've watched a lot of low budget stuff and stuff that are made by people that don't care that much. And then it's enough sometimes for me to see a movie made by somebody who's really passionate. I might not even like the story, but like it gives me hope.
No, I appreciate like Terry Gilliam's vision and his own style. But like I said, with Robert Williams, sometimes it needs to be pulled back a little bit.
Right, yeah. Well, I was talking about Wes Anderson in particular.
Well, same thing with Wes Anderson. I think for me, he's kind of going that direction where sometimes you need editors in your life.
Yeah.
To tell you like certain things, and
like Lady in the Water with Shyamalan. I felt that way about that. I know what you're talking about. I feel you, buddy. I feel you.
I mean, like they both have their audiences, and obviously they're going to get movies made, but at the same time, it's like diminishing returns on each thing I see.
Well, there's also this thing with they make something like you said, Andy. It's just for a mainstream audience, it's just never going to be accessible to a mainstream audience. Certain things, it's just too weird.
Yeah, that's why I stayed away from the Adventures of Baron Munchausen all this time, because I'm pretty mainstream in my tastes.
Yeah.
And I was like, it looks like it's too arty for me. Then I watched it and I was like, oh no.
I think
Princess Bride is right. It's in that same genre. It's not nearly the quality of the Princess Bride.
It's not like it's so artsy fartsy and British. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is aggressively British.
Yeah. Well, Rob Reiner directed the other one, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that'll help.
It is what it is. It's very English, right? It's weird though that you have a Canadian. Sarah Polley's a Canadian, right? Uma Thurman's American, I think.
She seems European though.
Yeah, and Robin Williams is either Canadian or American.
If you're American in the living room, what are you in the bathroom?
European.
Thank you.
I'll pull my finger.
I can't hear the word European without thinking of that dumb fucking joke.
I'd say we're probably split on Baron Munchausen, but he gets shot by Jonathan Pryce just to wrap up the story, and she saves him.
And death finally comes for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. That death is just like trying to get him, like get him so much.
Yeah.
Wait, so explain the end to me, because he dies, but then he's alive again.
Yeah. To explain that,
it's because Sarah Polley like drove death away, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Because she can see his true form, Death's true form, and he saw Death trying to take Baron's soul.
Okay.
And she was like, "Get away!"
Yep.
All right. If you say so. It seemed a little confusing. Like he was dead and then he wasn't.
There's also like the weird transition to the theater again near the end that makes you question what's real.
Exactly.
I mean, for all we know, we could have been watching a story being told by somebody else's perspective too.
Yeah. He doesn't really give you a concrete ways to look at the timeline that way, does he?
No. All right.
So I'm excited for next week's.
Another one I have never seen, so.
Yeah.
I've never seen it either. But I know he directed Alien Resurrection that we just did. So like, that's why I kind of picked that.
You're going to like well, you might. I thought you'd like Baron Munchausen. You might not like this one. It's also kind of wacky like that, but it's French. So it doesn't have that.
It's
English
French wacky as opposed to English wacky.
Yeah. It's a little more.
It's fracky.
I wouldn't say it's restrained or anything. It's pretty goofy.
It's going to make me hungry, right? Even though they eat humans.
I don't think it'll make you hungry. But Amy and I were watching Baron Munchausen. I had this moment where I'm like, I realize all three of the movies that we picked are real silly. And then I'm like, I think steampunk might just be real silly at its heart.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, maybe like steampunk more.
Yeah.
If I'm like,
it endears it to me.
Yeah. It's inherently irreverent, goofy. We'll give it a shot, Then we'll go to an improv class, Andy.
We'll love all the things that we used to not like.
We'll go improv.
And we're like, peace out. Deuces, and walk into traffic.
Nice know you.
Into traffic, he said. All right. Well, let's see what's been.
I appreciate this movie.
I appreciate you saying that.
No, like just watching it, I was like, wow, they don't make movies like this anymore.
No, they really
just
don't.
Like giant sets and big casts.
Well, they went way over budget too. Like they had problems and stuff, but yeah, I miss like all the, I know again, there's elephants in this movie and I understand. I feel like probably wasn't the best environment for the elephants, but it looks so beautiful.
Yeah. From like a movie maker's perspective, I really like this movie. Like visually, it was so cool. Like that, especially like when Baron's telling his story about the Turks.
Yeah.
Just like that castle and like the look of the costumes.
So strange how tall it was.
Yeah.
When he comes down on the horse and it's this huge drop and it's straight down, which I think is just it's so funny to stage it instead of being the dramatic leap where there would be an arc of the horse. Yeah. It's him just plummeting to the ground. Yeah,
visually reminded me of like Jodorowsky, like Holy Mountain.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That part did look like Holy Mountain. Yeah. Everything was just so oversized, but it didn't look. It didn't necessarily
the saturation
look old.
of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm lapping it up too. I know what you're saying, Andy. Amy, you haven't seen Holy Mountain yet?
Nope.
It's really awesome. Be another one that pairs well with being stoned.
Yeah.
You can watch it sober,
if you dare.
Andy watched it sober, I'm sure.
Oh, it's like I don't get high anymore, so like I need something. I'm raw dog in this movie.
The art.
So, but yeah, I feel like Holy Mountain you could get into either way. You just have to be like ready to just not do anything else the whole time.
All right. Phone away.
Yeah. You liked Santa Sangre, right? With the circus.
I wouldn't choose to watch it again.
Yeah. But seeing it once, you're glad you watched it?
But I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. This one's even maybe a little weirder than Santa Sangre, maybe.
That's pretty weird.
Got a lot of nudity, if I remember right, too. I think there's ding dongs.
Yeah, it's more surreal.
Ding dongs. Yeah. Now you're speaking my language.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm pretty sure there are ding dongs in there for you.
For me?
I love ding dongs.
I would love delicious.
I would eat a ding dong right now.
Yeah.
Why are they wrapped in foil?
I don't know.
To protect them. There was an episode of Corner Gas, one of the last live action ones that I watched. I'm done with the live action Corner Gas. But
thank God.
Yeah, I know you don't have to hear about it anymore. But this episode was they found an old snack cake behind the cooler in the gas station, and it was from the 70s or something. And then the grumpy old dad came in and grabbed it off the counter. And then the whole episode is he convinces everyone that he ate it and that they need to take care of him because now he's so sick all the time. It's pretty funny.
Wow.
Good low stakes stuff.
Corner Gas.
Or no stake stuff.
What have you done, Canada? What have you done? All right. So this is the point in the show where we talk about what we've been watching. Because, that's what we do now.
Yeah.
So, Freddy.
The thing I want to talk about, we let Andy go first because I want to get into Crimes of Passion.
Okay.
Has Andy seen this?
Oh, is it actually called Crimes of Passion?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant A Crime of Passion.
No, the movie's called Crimes of Passion.
Oh, no.
It's...
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, why don't you start? Because I don't know how I'm going to be able to control myself when I get into the other one.
I watched the first episode of that Pee Wee Herman documentary.
Oh, yeah.
On HBO Max.
Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be sad.
No, it is in a way, but because I think everybody knows about it. Like he finally reveals that he's gay in real life.
Yeah,
and that it touches on that, and that's very sad that he had to felt that he had. Well, I mean, I guess he did have to for his career.
Yeah. Right.
But even after Pee Wee, like he didn't feel like he could come out.
Just so sad.
But it just goes. There's just so much stuff I didn't know about, like how Pee Wee came about and the career he had and all the people he worked with the groundlings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to watch
there was just so many familiar faces, like, whoa.
Yeah. Did they interview Cassandra Peterson?
Yeah. And Miss Yvonne from Pee Wee Herman, who's unfortunately now passed.
Oh, yeah.
She's died a couple months ago.
Yeah, she was Charlie's mom.
Yeah. That's right. She was Charlie's mom.
From It's Always Sunny.
I love Pee Wee. Everything Pee Wee.
And they get into like how his fame blew up with Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And like how he had to deal with that and pushed him more in the closet. And it's really heartwarming, and you slowly see him drop the facade as he's getting interviewed more and more. Like, cause he's just so used to like holding back that part of his life
Right.
that he always had to guard up. But you can,
Yeah.
as the interviews go on and on, you can see him like kind of like breaking that wall down and becoming more of Paul Rubens as opposed to Pee Wee Herman.
I saw an interview with the director, and he said it was a fight to get to get the trust to where it was, where he opened up. And I was like, oh, he talked about like periods when they wouldn't talk to him and all this stuff because he'd be pushing, you know. But it's kind of amazing they did that, but before he passed away, and people got to know who he was finally.
Yeah, it's like I wonder like if that's why he finally decided to do the documentary, because he had cancer and knew his time was coming.
Yeah.
So it's probably like his last chance and to tell his story and not answer questions about it.
Yeah.
Beyond what he's telling us. So he's still in a way controlling his story too, which is nice to see that, somebody can have a say in how their story is being told.
One of a kind.
Yeah, it's really, I can't wait to watch the second episode.
Yeah, you got me excited to start it.
Yeah.
I was watching real dark documentaries the last couple I saw.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's
Tylenol
sad, but
murders.
it's just so nostalgic to watching all this like footage that they've uncovered, because he tried to keep this hidden for so long that you didn't, because he didn't want his true life coming out. That like I guess this footage is finally being seen.
Wow.
Yeah, really good.
That's really cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I emotionally handle it? Can I emotionally handle it?
Yeah,
Okay. Good.
it's not like depressing,
Right.
because like Pee Wee Herman, like Paul Rubens is very private, so he's going to only tell you what he wants you to know.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe this second episode is going to be more sad because he's slowly laying his guard down and telling us more and revealing his true self. And like this second half is going to deal with, the first half stops at before even the scandal with the movie theater.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that second episode is going to
That was bad for him.
get into that his more personal life.
Yeah. So
That was tough.
I'm in 100%. Should watch it tonight. Or soon.
We can't tonight.
We can't tonight.
Do you want to play Baldur's Gate with your friends?
Oh, that's right. Gotta play some Baldur's Gate. I almost forgot. It's Monday. Monday night. Nerds Ball. We watched Crimes of Passion, Andy. You gotta see this movie.
So the movie is called Crimes of Passion.
Crimes of Passion.
Who's it? Ken Russell?
Ken Russell directed it.
Kathleen Turner.
Ken Russell, he directed the Devils, didn't he?
Yeah.
So is it sleazy and gross?
It's so sleazy.
Super sleazy.
It's got Kathleen Turner, Anthony Perkins,
Annie Potts.
Annie Potts,
Oh, Bruce Davison. Young Bruce Davison.
young Bruce Davison. It's about this woman, Kathleen Turner, who
She's got alter egos.
she's got an alter ego that is a prostitute.
China Blue, right?
China Blue. And then there's this two men who become kind of obsessed with her in different ways. One, Anthony Perkins as this priest. And then there's Doofus McDoofus Face. I don't know the guy's name.
Oh my
But he's
God.
got a little bit of a doofus face.
Guy was real goofy.
He was real goofy. He's just a married father. That's his wife's not putting out anymore. So
Oh, so he's a John.
he becomes a John. It's a very sleazy, very
He starts out as like
dirty
a kind
movie.
of a unofficial PI.
yeah.
That's how he becomes obsessed with her, is that his boss hires him to stalk her, essentially because he thinks that the boss,
that she's stealing secrets.
that it's in espionage, but it's a fashion company. So she stole
Designs.
the designs, what were they called? The plates or whatever?
No, just the
I thought they had like a special term for
Pattern.
it. The patterns, that's it. She stole the patterns.
You're thinking of like the plates, like the pencil rubbing plates.
Yeah, probably.
From when we were kids.
Is that where you have the fashion
Yeah.
toy?
And you
Yeah.
switch the tops and the bottoms and make different outfits.
Well, I kept looking at it. I'm like, this is some weird, this is this major espionage thing for this guy that she stole some patterns, and I'm just kind of like, you could pull a piece of clothing off a rack, right, and make a reverse engineer the pattern for it. So I don't know. It just struck me as a kind of a funny reason, but it's not important to the movie.
So what's the plot? Is it the John being obsessed with Kathleen Turner?
It's just about these two men and how they treat her and how she responds to them. And, yeah.
It's way nuttier. Like, it's almost like I don't want to spoiling the surprises of what happens in it. It's real dirty.
Okay, it's like you said, it's sleazy and dirty, but I felt the same way about the Devils.
Yeah.
But it never felt, to me, exploitative.
This isn't, because I feel like Kathleen Turner is driving the boat the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, she's running
Yeah, like
the show.
I feel like there's a place for that
Yeah.
type of sleazy and gross.
Oh, yeah.
But
No,
as
I
long
enjoyed
as it's
myself.
done in a way that doesn't feel...
It's sexy.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty sexy in parts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty steamy. But essentially, like,
It
fucking
is smut.
Anthony Perkins is fucking unhinged in it. He was taking nitrates. I don't know what this means, sniffing nitrates. I've never done it.
Unless somebody meant nitrous.
I don't know if they meant
That's
nitrous.
life laughing gas.
Yeah, because they said nitrates, which to me is hot dogs. But so it's
taking
snorting hot dogs.
He was snorting hot dogs.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody out there knows exactly what we're talking about.
Like to amp him up or whatever.
Yeah, and it worked. He's fucking insane in it, man. He's sweaty.
So he's
His
like
eyes
sniffing
are-
it. It's like, because I know like poppers, that's not like a hallucinogenic drug, but
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Poppers are part of the nitrate family.
Yeah, then that's maybe what it was, because I think he was into that scene outside of the movie. You know, maybe I don't know too much. I just heard stories. I don't know what's true, but like he was in this. It seems like you can see it. You can see the drug use, right, in his eyes.
I don't know. I just thought it was really good acting.
Yeah, it was a little too good.
But he was very red.
Yeah.
He was very flush, let's just say. So
You
maybe
think
that's
he's
it.
going
I
to
don't
kill
know.
somebody from the beginning of the movie on? Like, you're constantly, every time he's on screen, I'm waiting for something to go off the deep end, but then there's usually a joke.
Right.
And it's where the acting's like everybody's way over the top except for Annie Potts. Like, they think they're in a Tennessee Williams play or something. It's real broad. Like,
Well, it calls for that type
Yeah.
of performance, right?
it would be too real otherwise,
Yeah.
I think. Too grimy. When she,
Right.
if they made it like realistic.
Yeah.
The way someone's killed at the end of this movie with something I thought was hilarious. I mean,
If you've seen the movie, you know what he means. Otherwise,
watch.
Google
It's on
it.
Tubi or Pluto or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure most people listening probably have heard it, have seen it too, because I know Ken Russell.
Somebody is killed with an instrument that you wouldn't think could kill somebody, and it's very funny.
Yeah. There's. I just don't want to steal the comedy from anybody of the
Don't
reveal
do it.
of certain moments in this movie. You see a lot of Kathleen Turner, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, good. I'll check this out.
Yeah, I think you'd
And
like
she
it.
looked great.
What year was this made?
Oh, in the 80s. Let me see. It was made in 1984.
Oh, I was going to say late 80s. I was wrong.
Yeah. Visually too. It's like super well done. Like, it's a good looking movie. It's Ken Russell's English, I think, and somebody said that this was his like kind of an absurd what he thought America was. You know, it was like this kind of like red light district
Yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, I love it when European directors do that. Like,
Yeah.
do their idea of like what America is, kind of like what Verhoeven did.
Yeah,
was, you know?
this would go really well with Showgirls. I think you can make a double feature night out of them. This one's more violent, but also just as funny in parts.
So, do I get to go?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like you were going to forget me.
No, man.
What if we said no? Like, no, Amy, you can't tell us what you watched.
Can't go. Nothing other than what Freddy's already reported, except for Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I am watching that. Mom Talk did survive this.
It's season 2, right? Yeah.
Season 2.
Okay.
But here's my question for you.
Is Mom Talk with that scandal where it was revealed that everybody was sleeping with each other?
Mm-hmm. Correct. All these Mormons were sleeping
Like
with
swapping,
each other.
right?
Yeah. So
Hypocrites.
they've dropped all of the episodes at one time, and I'm just feeling like that is not the way to do it with a reality show.
Oh,
I
really?
feel like you should do it week by week.
You like the anticipation?
I think it builds more discussion, anticipation,
Not me.
because
I'm
I
like,
feel behind.
I can't wait that long for like salacious stuff.
Well, I can't sit and watch 15 hours of a reality show, and it feels like the whole world has. It's like, where did you get the time? Do not have the time. I can't torture Freddy with too much.
Most people just watch
Reality
TV
trash.
while they work now.
Well, I can't do that.
I was in a drive-through one day
could
and
do
somebody was
that.
looking at their phone when I pulled up. The person working there, I mean, it was pretty funny.
So,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
are there people to root for on the show, or are they all kind of bad people?
That's an interesting question. I find them to be so alien to me. It's hard to root for them.
Because of the religious stuff?
Yeah, and just their whole life. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know what it means to be an influencer.
Yeah.
It doesn't compute. But there are some that are a little bit more normal, and I'm using air quotes. They'll drink and they'll swear and they'll drink like caffeinated products. And then those are the ones I'll sort of root for because I'm like, okay, at least you're not a complete robot.
I'm just confused about like what the story is, because I can see what's going on with like Real Housewives, like those forced dinners and stuff like that. And
Oh, they do the same thing. And Secret
And,
Lives
you
and
know,
Mormon Wives is a housewife show.
and Housewives, like maybe they have a little more going on with their life because they have all these like side businesces and like
Oh, you don't know about Mom Talk?
no, I know kind of about that, but like
They
because
got brand deals.
yeah.
That's their big
I mean, are
business.
they? Like I know, like a lot of Mormons are involved in MLMs. Like,
It's not that.
so are they like involved in that at all?
Nope.
That
No, they're
Mormon
all
level
It's just
just
marketing?
Mormon bloggers?
influencers. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just influencers and they just show their lives and then they do brand deals.
And they all have the same hair.
They all have the same fucking hair and face.
It's like Mar-a-Lago hair, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, like the center part with the wavy curls.
Yeah, basically.
Mar-a-Lago hair.
It's silly. It's so silly, but I am just so captivated.
I mean, like I judge kind of anybody that puts their life out like that.
And
And
but thank God they do.
yeah, they thank God for giving us stuff to make fun of, but I feel like you can't really get a good read on them or trust them because
Don't let them into your personal life.
yeah, their lives are so curated, and
Yeah.
now they're revealing their true selves on this show. You know,
It's still pretty well. It feels very produced. Let's just say. I think they're all producing themselves, and then they're being produced.
There's no reality shows anymore that don't do that, right? I mean, like that's standard operating procedure. It's all scripted.
It does feel that way, but I'm okay with it if the scripts give me my
Right. It doesn't mean it's not real, but it
Can you
does
believe
mean
they
like
said what?
they refine the shit out of the scenario until it fits like a story and not reality anymore.
Bravo's got it down. So the
Yeah.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives just stole that.
Formula.
and I also judge people that expose their kids like that
Yeah,
to make their
not all of them show their kids, but yeah,
to like make mommy content.
right.
Yeah. There's
where they kind of like exploit their children and like record everything
Yeah.
about their lives and stuff like
yeah.
the
It's too
vacations and
much.
what their rooms look like and their daily lives and
There's like a new documentary that's not a fun one about that called I think like the dark side of kidfluencing or something. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like nightmarish mess. We've
but it
created.
also makes you wonder, like, are like Mormons just swingers in general?
I think
'Cause,
when
like-
you repress yourself so much that the steam will get let off any old way that it can.
I mean, good for them if they're like swingers, that's like consenting adults. But when you also have a part of religion that is so restricting
Right.
and judgy,
But it also has polygamy as part of it.
yeah,
So that's
True.
real. It seems
That is
complicated
confusing.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll never get it.
I won't either.
Never gonna get
but
it.
is that kind
I
of
find the Mormon religion to be
Yeah.
distasteful, but I also find most religions to be distasteful. Actually, wait. All organized religions. Gross.
We know.
Um,
We know how it is.
how many episodes are you in?
like 3,
Yeah.
and that's why it's just feeling overwhelming to know that they're all there.
Do you
Oh,
follow?
I gotta also keep up on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Then I gotta keep up with the Valley. Listen, I'm very, very busy.
What's the Valley?
It's a spinoff of Vanderpump Rules.
Okay.
Doesn't this sound like the Marvel universe to you a little bit now?
It's
Are
the
they gonna-
Bravo cinematic universe.
The levels.
Are they gonna have like a big like Avengers where they all show up at the end?
Crisis on Infinite
Is it-
Montauk.
I think they do get a reunion this year. They didn't get it for their first season.
Is there gonna be a crossover with Mormon wives and Real Housewives?
Don't
well,
they
it
do
turns
that?
out
Yeah.
that Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, there's a cast member on there that is cousins with somebody who's on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But that just makes sense because of all the inbreeding in Utah. Not real inbreeding, you know what I mean. They just,
Sure.
certain families. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. That's all.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
You didn't want to talk about the Curse of the Headless Horseman? That
No.
1972 indie film, looks like it was shot on 8mm film at it looks like the Spawn Ranch.
Curse of the Headless Horseman. Tubi, I've been struggling with Tubi. My algorithm's all fucked up. Haven't been getting the good gems.
Oh, Adults is good. New sitcom on FX. That's good. If you want something fun.
All right. At the end of every show, we always say hi to our Beelzebubs. Patreon.com/NOTLP. If you're interested. Matt, Branan and Emily, Dr. Brian, Old Dirty Billsterd, Bill Fahrner, Blayne Yogurt, Jordache Jeans, Monica, Cassie and Gamora, Ernie, Dave, Paul, and Shayna. Bobana. Love you later.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Frankenstein was wondering if he should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead. And Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the streets of London on four legs, while high above him Ellen Ripley finds some funny eggs. And Freddy laughs at Nancy in her nightmares as she begs to have